Good morning, fam. Welcome back to the channel. By the end of today, if everything can go smooth, go as planned, the Evo 8 is gonna be up and running. Not even by the end of today, within like 2 hours, 3 hours maybe. So last night I ran into my buddy's shop, Raven Fabrication here in Spokane. They do a bunch of wiring and I picked up some injector plugs from them. They carried the upgraded version of the Denza plugs. The stuff I have on there is pretty cheap and ghetto. It's just from Amazon. So I got some injector plugs from them. And then I went to Harbor Freight, got some like wiring loom protective stuff and some electrical tape, a bunch of electrical tape because that's something we always need here. So the first thing we're going to be doing today is getting those injectors rewired and extended quite a bit. How it's set up stock is the wiring harness, which is this one right here. It runs over the intake manifold right up top. The injectors plug in from the top, which kind of looks, I mean, it looks okay, I guess, for a stock car, but being that we're trying to keep this thing clean, I'm gonna run all the harnesses underneath the intake manifold, and then we're just gonna have 4 wires running up to the injectors. So first things first, let's get this whole thing rewired, clean up all this wiring. Unfortunately for now, we're gonna have to put the battery back in the stock location right here. We just got all the injector harnesses made. That is how one of them looks. Turned out really nice and clean, and I think that's gonna look nice with the intake manifold. Now the fun part, getting all the wiring underneath the intake manifold secured, and each injector wire ran to the top and plugged into the injector. Here's how all of that turned out. I could not be more happy with how clean that looks. Literally the only thing we have on top of the intake manifold now, 1 wire for the map sensor. This wire right here is for the coil packs, throttle cable, and then the 4 injector plugs you guys see right there. That looks super clean. I'm pretty pumped with that. The 2 wires that used to run alongside the engine over here, one was the front O2 sensor, the other was the crank sensor. Both of those run underneath the motor. And then over here we have just these 2 main wires right here. And then this stuff is for the battery. All this right here still needs to be cleaned up. We only have a few things left before we can start up the car, so let's get to work. The only thing that we don't have right now that we need to run and grab is some more fuel line. This is the return line, comes from the bottom of the fuel pressure regulator and runs back to the hard line that goes to the back of the car. So I need about probably 4 feet of that. I have to get that later. For now, let's just button up the car, get everything done that we can, and then we can run to town, grab some line. I did pick up a bunch of these clips for these plugs here. I get these from Spooling Up. I think it's the only place that sells them. It's www.spoolingup.com. Go check them out, guys. They have a lot of good stuff on there, but I think it's the only place that sells these clips, which is super nice because I know you can't buy these from Mitsubishi. We did always have the problem of that map sensor wire coming unplugged. I don't know if you guys remember that, but now we're good to go. So right now we're just going through and adding all the fluids. I just got the oil in, the engine, we still have to do the trans. I did have to undo all of our wiring job just so we could get the coil packs on. We don't have the new COP system in yet, the coil and plug setup, which comes with like extended wiring and all that. So I had to undo all of our wiring and set it on top of the intake manifold, and it looks so horrendous right now. That is how it's looking. We had to do what we had to do to get this thing up and running though. So let's throw in the radiator, the gear oil, the antifreeze, intercooler piping, intake, and we should be able to start this thing up. Oh, and battery as well. Well, we started adding the water and we have a massive leak. It looks like it's coming from behind the timing cover. So maybe water pump, not really sure. We have to tear into it though and figure out what the hell is going on. Good thing we're using just water right now and not coolant, because water is a lot easier to clean and work with than straight coolant is. Alright, so we just completely tore into the Evo. We got a ton of stuff off. The timing cover, we had to pull the timing belt again, which kind of sucks. And we got the water pump off, and we found the problem. This is the wrong gasket for this water pump. So what this is a 4G64 block with an Evo 8 head, 4G63 head. And I'm guessing with the 4G64 block, you use a different water pump, because this here is the gasket for a 4G63, an Evo 8, a 2003 Evo 8 water pump gasket. And as you can see, if we set this up on the water pump, I never noticed this before. All the holes line up, but you see this right there? That is a clear source for a gnarly leak. So we got to figure out what water pump this is and figure out what gasket we need for this water pump. I'm really hoping I can just run to AutoZone, run to Napa, somewhere close and local, and pick one up today, just so we can get this thing back on the road, or at least just get the first start. If we can get the first start today, I'd be happy. So I'm gonna go online, do some research, figure out what the hell we need. All right, so I ended up calling the place that originally built this motor back before I ever bought the car. The water pump gasket you need for this setup is a 2003 Mitsubishi Outlander water pump gasket. Now the only problem is I called around every single auto parts store in Spokane and no one has it in stock today. So I have two options. I can either wait till tomorrow or I can just ghetto-ly fab it up with some sealant. I don't want to be in a rush like that and kind of do half-assed work, so I guess we're gonna have to wait till tomorrow to fire this thing up, which absolutely sucks. I was really hoping to get the first start up today, but there's always gonna be a few little problems here and there, and there's not much you can really do about it. So this here is everything we had to pull off, and we have the timing belt loose as well. So hopefully we can get that timing belt on without pulling. There's a pulley right there, and hopefully we don't have to pull that pulley off to get this timing belt back in place. As you can see, I zip tied it to the cam gears. So it should be easy to time again. I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it up right here, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video. Remember, if you have a 2.4 liter 4G64 Evo 8 water pump gasket, you need it as an 03 Outlander, not an Evo 8 water pump gasket. Peace out. I'll see you tomorrow.